All right, in this lesson, what we're going to do is look at trigonometry ratios. Trigonometry always applies to right angle triangles. In our case, the rules we're going to use will only work in these. Now, we have to think of our right angle triangles, our three sides, but also we're going to have a reference angle involved there as well, okay? Our reference angle will help us to identify what our sides are, and we have three types of sides. We have opposite sides, we have adjacent sides, adjacent to the angle or opposite to the angle, and then we have our hypotenuse. Remember, our hypotenuse will always be the one opposite the right angle. Okay, the first thing we need to do with our triangles is to label those sides, because we can't do trigonometry without that. So let's label these sides of these triangles first. Here is our reference angle. So the one opposite it will be our O for opposite. The one across from the right angle will be H for hypotenuse, and then the remaining side that is touching the adjacent side will, touching the reference angle will be our adjacent side. On this one, different orientation, different reference angle. The one opposite the reference angle will be O for opposite. The one across from the right angle will be H for hypotenuse. The remaining side is touching the reference angle, it will be our adjacent side. Now, trigonometry ratios look at comparing all of those sides together. So they are a comparison, right? A comparison of the sides, just changing pen, in a right angled triangle. It's a comparison of any of those three. And we have the three rules. We have our cosine rule, our sine rule, and our tan rule. Cos, sine, and tan, that's how we like to say them to shorten them. Now, each of these has to relate to the reference angle. We always have to talk about our sides in reference to one of the angles that isn't the right angle. So we always talk about theta, which is the angle we talk because it's the unknown, okay? So our unknown angle is our reference angle here. If we are going to compare sides, we need to be able to talk about the different types of sides we have. So cos of theta is always going to be A over H. Sine of theta, O over H. And tan of theta, O over A. You might have seen SOHCAHTOA in the past. And that relates to sine, opposite hypotenuse, cos, adjacent hypotenuse, and tan, opposite adjacent, right? So we've drawn triangles, we've labelled our sides. Now we need to think about what our ratios mean. Let's get this right angle with all of its sides, and here are our ratios: a sine of the theta, cos of theta, and tan of theta. If we did sine of theta, we have to look at our opposite and our hypotenuse. We can't do that until we've labelled our sides first, so let's do that. The one opposite the theta, or the reference angle, is O for opposite. The one across from the right angle, hypotenuse, and the remaining one will be your adjacent. So let's have a look. We now need an opposite and a hypotenuse. Our opposite is 21, our hypotenuse is 35. So you would type that into your calculator. Sine of theta equals this ratio. Cos A over H, so A is 28, H is 35. Tan of theta equals O over A. Here's our O, 21 over A, which is 28. So, some skills we need to learn. We need to learn our rules in reference to the angle. It is always cos of theta, sine of theta, or tan of theta. We need to be able to label our sides, and then we need to be able to apply our numbers or our measurements of our sides to our rules.